Hey, welcome in everybody. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Tarot and Astro Insights, and we're going to talk about this full moon in Aries taking place today on October the 17th. Stick around, hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment on the video, and share the video, especially if you're resonating with the messages. But let's talk about this very potent, intense full moon in Aries. And so this full moon is particularly intense because we have a cardinal grand cross playing out. And so a grand cross occurs when there are 4 planets in cardinal signs forming squares and oppositions. And so it's the moon in Aries in opposition with the sun in Libra. We've got Mars in Cancer. We've got Pluto in Capricorn. These energies in opposition, and all 4 of these energies are creating a grand cardinal cross. And so this is going to generate a lot of dynamic tension with a lot of high voltage energy. And so this full moon, I would like to remind everybody, is also going to be conjunct Chiron in Aries, the wounded healer. And so these energies are bringing to the surface all of our emotional vulnerabilities, all of these old wounds that we've kind of suppressed, that we've repressed. They're all coming to the surface right now because this full moon is asking us all to face whatever it is we've been avoiding, whatever it is we've been repressing, so we can heal once and for all head on. That's the energy of the Ram. That's the energy of Aries. And so let's talk about cardinal signs for a minute. Cardinal signs are the pathfinders. They are the initiators, and they are the leaders of New Earth. So pay close attention to where the cardinal energies are sitting at in your housing side of your birth chart, especially if you have any major planets or signs in cardinal energies, because you are going to be affected by this full moon in some way, shape, or form. When we think of cardinal energies, they've got something very fundamental to create when it comes to this new Earth timeline shift. And so there's something very significant happening over the coming days, and this is connected to a new beginning. This is marking the beginning of a brand new cycle for New Earth. And so this grand cross is going to touch all of us in some way, shape, or form when it comes to what psychologically drives us, what psychologically motivates us. So first, let's talk about the moon. The moon is our default behaviors. The moon is our reactions. It's all about our emotions. The moon is connected to the mother. The moon is in Aries. We've got the sun. The sun is in Libra. The sun is our sense of identity, of self. The sun is shining a light down on our purpose. With the Mars energy in Cancer, this is really what's going to trigger us and set us into action. And then let's talk about Chiron. Chiron is our deepest wounds. And so you might not have your Chiron in Aries, but we all do have a core self-identity wound. And when this is triggered, there's usually 2 reactions. We either hide in our Cancer shell, the Mars energy, or we can choose to lash out, which would probably be the moon energy, our reactive default behaviors. And then we've got Pluto sitting in Capricorn, and Pluto is representative of our reptilian brain. And so we all have a reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is the center of our most hardwired instincts and reactions when it comes to our programmed beliefs and our patterns throughout our ancestral lineage. And so with all of these alignments playing out, it screams the energy of trigger, trigger, trigger. And so triggers are going to be on the menu. I'm not without having to deal with triggers. I had to work through some triggers earlier today, which kind of allowed me to sit with that trigger and go deeper into this full moon energy to channel the message for all of you guys. And so things are going to trigger us. We can't avoid the triggers. We can't run from the triggers. And so be mindful. We're going to be triggered, and this is going to push the reptilian brain reactions to the forefront. And so the reptilian brain is basically the lizard brain. And so it's like the oldest parts of our consciousness within our brain and our subconscious when it comes to maybe evolutionary terms. But it's basically the most primitive part in our subconscious mind. And we've inherited this from our ancestors throughout time, throughout space. And so the reptilian brain, or the lizard brain, is responsible for all of our basic reactive drivers. And so it's basically our reflexes, it's our impulses, it's basically the part of the brain that controls fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. And so it rules over our survival instinct. And so when we're connected to this Plutonian energy, which is our ancestral memories, we're connected to the reptilian brain. And so this does include deep-seated memories connected to war, connected to famine, and connected to natural disasters. And so we all carry this genetic DNA, this genetic information within our cellular body, within our soul, within our reptilian brain. And so we pass this down from generation to generation. And the pathfinders, the leaders of New Earth, the cardinal energies of New Earth, we are here to break the mold and to shift out of those reactive patterns. And so when this part of the brain is activated, it's really hard to work through our triggers, because we're kind of thrown into this energy of being in survival mode. And then all of these old patterns are activated to the surface. And so we don't want to fall back into these default patterns. We want to pull the trigger. And so it's the energy of, hey, maybe there's somebody pulling a trigger for you, but they're not actually the one holding the gun. They're not the ones that created the original wound. They're just there to pull the trigger for you to do the deep dive. And so we have to acknowledge the triggers. We can't ignore the triggers. We can't run from the triggers. But most of us want to hold back when it comes to the triggers. And that's not really the answer, because then we usually act destructively when we avoid the triggers. And so we got to sit with it. We got to sit with the mirror. We got to look in the mirror. We got to sit with that trigger. We got to understand why were we triggered, right? And so this is where real healing is really going to take place. And so usually when we get triggered, we want to project, we want to blame, we want to shift the energy onto somebody else, anything to avoid sitting with that trigger. And so we want to blame others. It could be a person that you want to blame, or a circumstance, or maybe something else. And so if something is triggering us, we have to sit with it, and we have to acknowledge that there's always a deeper reason, right? Triggers are there to serve as a tool to do the deep integration work of healing. And so it's basically a call to explore a more profound wound below the surface. And so this is kind of where we release surface level healing modalities, right? And so triggers are going to be on the menu, that's for sure. And triggers are going to be demanding our full attention over the coming days. And so sometimes we do need a little bit of a shake up to remind us what truly matters in our life. And so pay attention to what triggers you was a big message that I channeled. Pay attention to what's going to trigger you. What is triggering you? Maybe it's your anger. Maybe it's connected to this Mars and Cancer energy. And so when our basic needs for security aren't being met, we can very much get triggered into anger. I've been working through that trigger for quite some time now when it comes to the lack of support, or feeling like I'm not supported, or my needs aren't being met externally. Maybe it's shame that you have to sit with when it comes to a trigger being activated. And shame would be connected to Chiron and Aries. A feeling like maybe you're insignificant, that others might reject you, and that you really don't belong here, right? Maybe it's fear. The fear energy, I feel, would be connected to that Pluto in Capricorn when it comes to activating the reptilian brain. And interesting, fear came through because fear is a deeply rooted belief being challenged, right? And so a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They want to run from the truth. And I had a firsthand experience with that earlier today with somebody that I thought was a close divine feminine friend, but unfortunately, we had to kind of part ways. Maybe there's this urge to feel the need to withdrawal in the energies, because that's going to be connected to the sun in Libra. So when we feel this emotional discomfort, it's usually not something we want to sit with. So we'll withdraw, and then we'll want to shift the blame onto others to avoid doing the deep soul work. So I think we need to ask ourselves why. I was shown the why card in the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and maybe I'll grab that and read out of the book connected to the why card, But I was shown that. Why? Ask yourself why. Why am I feeling anger? Why am I feeling shame? Why am I sitting in this energy of fear, which likely will feel like overwhelming anxiety about something? But this is about getting raw. This is about getting real, especially when it comes to some very triggering truth that is probably going to be surfacing over the coming days. And so the truth usually is very discomforting. The truth shatters illusions, and most people are very much comfortable in their illusions. And so the truth will trigger all of these unhealthy emotions that need to be worked through. And so this full moon basically is all about pulling the trigger. It's going to offer us all a chance to reconnect with this truth, though, even if it's going to stir up our deepest, darkest vulnerabilities and fears, okay? And so ask yourself, what is it that I'm fighting for? If you find yourself fighting with somebody, what are you fighting for? I know I don't want to argue or fight with people, and it's okay to disagree. What are you pursuing? Why are you pursuing that? Is it really what you want to pursue, or is it connected to one of these lower grade emotions that are triggering you that you're trying to avoid doing the deep shadow work? What is your mission? What is your mission? Oh, I just hit 10,000 steps. I'm not even walking. That's so interesting. And what is so important to you that it's worth the risk to take, even if you will be met with failure, right? And so no risk, no reward, and really sit in the energies and ask yourself what drives you over the coming days. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to grab that Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and we're going to read into the Why card. Why? Isn't that the most significant question we can ask ourselves? Why? Why am I the way that I am? Why do I react the way that I do? I love this card. Why? If you look at it, she's like opening up the book, the Akashic book. You see a book with angel wings, and she's about to come into some type of truth. It's a 31 card. And so key 31 in the tarot is connected to the Five of Wands. And so there's a deep need to understand the whys here, right? You think of the Five of Wands, it's struggle, it's in a battle, maybe a battle of beliefs, a battle of the egos here. But basically the why card is asking you to figure out what motivates you, what is driving your intentions in your life, because the power of knowing why really is a very powerful thing to sit with, right? And so there's great power in understanding our motives right now, for sure. And so this oracle card is asking us all to be very clear about why. Why are you even asking this question, right? And so why are you looking for an answer? Why are you behaving in this way? And most importantly, why did you make this choice, or why are you making this choice? And so when we know our whys, that really is the key to achieving fulfillment in our lives. And so when we're clear about it, when we're clear with our intentions, then we can truly become a magnet for miracles. And so motives define the nature of all of our life's experiences. Is it a positive motive? Is it a selfish motive? Is it for everybody's highest good? Is that what your intentions are for? Because think about it. We need to think about something. We need to feel it. Then we need to act on it. And that really is the trick when it comes to manifesting, right? And so there's always going to be an invisible why in all of our lives, which is the driving life force energy within us. So what types of seeds have you planted? And what is it that you need to bring to life when it comes to potential growth for your future evolution? And so when it comes to relationships too, we don't always know why we engage in certain relationships the way that we do. And it's usually connected to a deeply rooted belief or pattern in the reptilian brain. And so sometimes our feelings are not logical. Actually, feelings are not logical at all. And so you need to recognize whether you are being triggered by somebody else, or if this trigger is behavioral motivated by unresolved wounds and issues in the past. And so triggers are going to be on the menu. Ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? Because it isn't the person's fault that pulled the trigger. Maybe they're just playing a role to pull that trigger to get you to do the deep seated work. Maybe you need to ask yourself if you're the one that pulled the trigger, because I sat there, I pulled a trigger earlier today, and I let it fly, and I had to sit there and ask myself, why did I say that? Well, I know why I said it, and I really spent a lot of time in introspection, and that's where I journaled a lot of these messages that I'm sharing with you today. And so the answers are likely going to surprise you no matter which side of the fence that you're on when it comes to these triggers. And so listen to the messages from your guides, from your higher self, from your intuition, because there's always a deep knowing from within. And so triggers are there to tell you something about yourself and about others. And in the end, all that matters in life really is being loved and loving one another. And so there's a deep understanding right now of your needs. What are your needs? Are they being met? How do I get them met? What is buried below the surface that needs to be uncovered that might be posing a threat to ultimate fulfillment? Just sit there and ask yourself why. Because sometimes we subconsciously deny a truth. We'll deny a truth and it will drive us towards a specific outcome that actually will align with an intention that's hidden from our awareness, right? And so maybe you want to be prominent in your profession, or maybe your desire really is just about sharing your talents and making yourself feel better because fame would cause people to maybe admire and approve of you. Just an example. Or maybe you want to reunite with somebody who rejected you because you believe that your love continues to be strong, but deep down inside, maybe what you desire is to have the last word with that person. So really think about that. really think about that. Because really, this is the full moon for deep, deep soul searching to understand what drives you, what drives your choices in all of your life. And so what will be uncovered will be the truth, and it will likely set you free. And it will bring you even closer to the happiness that you seek. And so all motives, good or bad, need to be addressed in these energies. So let's go a little bit further here with some more oracle messages. I'm not going to use the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, although I love Colette Baron Reed's work. I've got several of her decks, and I just did her webinar last week to help grow the business. But we are going to jump in with the Senses of the Soul deck. I'm really feeling this deck lately. So let's start off with messages from this deck and let's see what needs to come through for the collective. Keep in mind, because this is a general collective message, just take what resonates, leave behind the rest. Remember that tarot and oracle is all about guidance. It's all about self-empowerment. I'm not here to tell you what to do. The message, the cards, none of this is here to tell you what to do. Hopefully, I'm just here to open you up to a new perspective, to kind of push you onto your path, and so you can kind of step into empowerment and create the life that you want. So we get the blue star on the cut. And we get Salal, which is a 29 card, which is speaking of forgiving and setting yourself free. And so that's drudging up that core wound. The blue star, this feels like some type of activation. And below that, we get the Alchemist. And below that, we get the Sovereign card. And so we are here to honor our spiritual truth, honor our spiritual path, and to become sovereign beings. And so the Alchemist is basically the energy of the magician. And so there's a lot of higher energies being activated. I'm being asked to set those cards down. And they also want me to set this card aside on the cut. I normally don't do that, but it's a 29 card. And so we do have Pluto at 29 degrees in Capricorn. And so we're in the last few weeks of Pluto in Capricorn, and it will never ever go back into Capricorn our lifetime, right? It's going to be going into Aquarius. And so we've got a few more weeks to wrap up the lessons that we've been learning for the last 15 years, wherever Pluto's been transiting within your personal birth chart. So for me, it's been between the 11th and the 12th house. And so what is it that you need to forgive in order to be set free? Because this is about being passionately connected to your purpose. So I'm curious to read into the book with these energies. Oh, we just had one fly right out, and it flipped out in reversed. And so it's a 42 card. So I do feel a 2 of Cups in reversed energy. So somebody here is very bullheaded is what I want to say, and they are not willing to see things differently. And so somebody here I feel is holding on to anger or bitterness or resentment, maybe shame, maybe guilt, maybe fear, connected to some type of separation. The separation could be happening right now. It could be a recent past, or it could be long past when it comes to a separation. And so oxeye daisy, interesting. Okay, let's see what else needs to come through. What else do we need to be aware of? But I just feel like this activation of the reptilian truth, the reptilian brain with that blue star. And so this is really up there in the higher chakras. And the alchemist is saying something about authenticity. I just feel there's a prickly situation here. And I'm hearing the word Scorpio. So there could be like a scorpion sting of energy coming through. And we just got... look at that. That flipped right out and landed on the alchemist. And so there's a page of cups energy coming through with that, which is saying some emotional exploration connected to a core childhood wound here for sure. And so this is allowing you to be connected to your purpose. Bottom of the deck, I choose to see the humor in my current situation. And so usually in hindsight, we can look back and get a little chuckle out of maybe a humiliating downfall. But we don't usually see it in the moment. So let's cut the deck and let's get a few more of these messages out. And let's see what else needs to come through for this full moon in Aries. So a 55 card. There's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth coming through. Ace of Swords energy. I am supported as I undergo this spiritual transformation. I am open to the light and the clarity. There's more cactus energy. So opening up to truth, clarity. So there's an Ace of Swords energy coming through with it, like a 7 of Cups. And then we get the Muse. And so throat chakra energy. What is on the bottom of the deck? 19, sunflower. So 19 is connected to the sun. 19 is also a karmic debt number associated to narcissism, narcissistic traits, extreme codependencies. And so how can you balance personal power with an open heart? And so I do feel this might be connected to the 888 Lionsgate portal that we went through in Leo season. And this is about nurturing the inner child from within. It's a 33 card below that. And so there is a 2 of Swords energy I'm feeling that is blocking somebody from letting go of the pain of the past. That's what it feels like. And so somebody here just wants to feel strong in who they are, but they can't fully step into true spiritual strength, Leo energy, the sun, until they let go of the pain from the past. And so we can't operate out of logic. We do have to drop back into the heart chakra. And so there's a teacher of the teacher energy coming through, but it will require dropping into the heart and nurturing that inner child from within. And so somebody here is opening themselves up to some newfound truth. And there could be like a creative muse energy coming through as well. And maybe the creative muse is connected to some type of soulmate separation. Not really sure, but let's go further into the book. I'd like to read the blue star along with the alchemist as well. So we'll see where this takes us. But the blue star is connected to divine karmic freedom. So this is where we're at. So there's a lot of shape-shifting I feel going on in the energies. There's a lot of esoteric knowledge and soul wisdom coming through. But we ultimately have to understand that the bigger picture is at work when it comes to this full moon. So ask yourself through this spiritual lens, who am I? Who are you? How did you get here in human form? But basically, this is about being handed the keys to a higher cosmic consciousness. And so the 9th chakra. The 9th chakra, or the blue star chakra, supports this integration of your earthly self with your divine self. And so there's an assisting energy when it comes to some type of manifestation of your desires and your abundance. But basically this is connecting to otherworldly realms and dimensions so we can unlock new talents, new truths, new abilities that are contained within our soul's blueprint. And so basically this is transcendence, right? This is the energy of transcendence, to meet your true spiritual nature, to meet your true divine self. And so we do all have to come to a certain understanding that we are inherently neither feminine nor masculine when we view ourselves from that spiritual lens, from that higher spiritual form. We are both feminine, we are both masculine, we are all multidimensional beings, and we all have the ability to connect with the higher cosmic angels and our guides and the ascended masters. And so I do feel this card is telling you it's time to unmute the truth. It's time to open up to the truth in order to go to the next level of this deep inner knowing. So let's see if I can find the Alchemist card. I would like to read the Alchemist card, if I can find it in a timely manner. The Alchemist, there it is. Quick, easy flipping of the pages. And so this is all about personal transformation. And you are supported as you go through this transformation. And so there's some type of alchemical transition, alchemical, psycho-spiritual transformation going on. And so how can you embrace this journey? This is the co-creative masculine and feminine energies being asked to be united within you. This is where we take all of the pain, all of the lessons that we've learned, and we turn it into liquid gold. But we do have to show up with a certain level of humility and willingness to accept the truth, no matter how painful that truth is. So it's basically time to step into this new identity. It's time to share your personal growth with others. That's what the magician does. The magician, the alchemist, creates their own reality. And so I think we're all being shown right now that every moment is an opening or gateway to connect to our purpose, to connect to our personal power, to open up to this creative muse energy. Let's read the muse. That is connected to the throat chakra. And so we all have a driving force when it comes to our creativity and the creative muse energy. And so the muse is basically somebody here infusing you with passion, purpose. So this is all about soulful creation, spiritual inspiration, and igniting your imagination. And so usually we have a creative muse that helps us elevate our vision and to bring us to the next spiritual level. Does that mean that we are coming into union with the muse? Maybe not. Maybe not. But there is a shadow energy here, I feel, that needs to be worked through when it comes to the muse. Definitely a shadowy energy coming through. And so we don't just seek pleasure for pleasure's sake when we are in tune with spirituality. This is a path of service. It really isn't a path of self-serving motivations. It should always be about the greater good. And so maybe it's time to take stock of all of your indulgences. What keeps you stuck? What keeps you disconnected from the truth of a certain situation? Because ultimately this will turn into empty pleasure. And empty pleasure usually comes with a lot of pain afterwards, right? And so when we take pleasure in service and helping others and our purpose, that is how our cup will always stay full. So there's a need to maybe forgive a past misunderstanding here for sure. So let's go a little bit further with a couple oracle messages, and let's grab some messages from the Moonology Messages Oracle deck. Look at that. Take a breath. Take a breath. It feels a little dark. Take a breath and maybe accept help. So there's something about being open to receiving, and you don't have to be a woman to represent the yin energy. The moon energy is the yin. It's the gravitational pull, but we do have to be willing to accept help. So you might just need to take a breather here as you undergo this spiritual transformation. But let's get a few of these out and let's add to the message, the law of attraction. We will attract what we put out there for sure. And so if you are attracting a lot of triggers in your life, you need to ask yourself, why am I attracting these triggers right now? Because it's probably some type of creative muse energy to get you to open up to this light of truth. So let's get a few of these out. We get abundance. So abundance truly is an inside job. We get slow it down. And so that's asking us to watch our temper, watch our words, because Aries is fueled with a lot of passion, heated energies. And then we get support. And so I do feel support is all around you. Bottom of the deck, synchronicity. And so there's something about divine timing playing out under this moon cycle. And this is all about taking the lead, stepping into leadership, and facing those fears. So we don't step into leadership by avoiding the fears. We got to face the fears. And so there's something very cold, I feel, coming through with that energy. Somebody here just has been avoiding, I think, doing this deep soul work. So let's jump in with some tarot. And I am going to use the Angel Wisdom Tarot deck today. And let's do 9 cards. And let's see what else needs to come through. My desk is a mess here, and I have a client coming shortly. So let's see what needs to come through. Look at that. This is all about releasing self-sabotaging behaviors. The 5 of Swords in reversed with the 10 of Wands. So what kind of burden do you need to release? What kind of burden do you need to release? Because I feel shame. I feel regret. I feel overwhelming fear, maybe about facing an unwise choice. This is all about no more avoiding, no more avoiding. Do you have integrity? Have you had questionable motives? What are your motives? Because we can't be undermining people, that's for sure. So let's get 9 of these cards out and let's see what the tarot has to say today. Let me make some room. Let me make some room for this 9-card spread, and let's see what needs to come through. If you would like to book a personal message with me, a personal reading, check out the description box below, guys. I would also like to quickly mention that there is a membership side to the channel. Feel free to check it out. We get the Temperance card in reverse, and I feel the need to put that on, that 2 of Cups in reversed energy. So there's a need to see something from a different perspective here. There is something here very out of balance that needs some type of alchemizing energy or compromising energy. And so there could have been a blending or an alchemizing of a higher union here, but there is something about self-control and mastering diversity here. So there's a need to see things from a different perspective. There's a need to forgive in order to be set free. So something here is out of balance, but let's see what this is all about. We get the King of Wands right out the gate. We get the 8 of Cups. How we get the Page of Cups. So there is a need to move on. We get the Ace of Cups. There's a lot of water coming through here. And we get the Queen of Coins as the dead central energy. We get the 7 of Wands in reversed. Where we got the ego card. There it is. There's the ego. There's that Capricorn energy. There's that reptilian brain. We get the Knight of Coins below the Queen of Coins in reversed. And we get this 9 of Swords in reverse. So there's fear that needs to be faced. I think there's fear of abandonment. There's fear of rejection, and I do feel there's a feminine energy that is the central energy in this reading. It could be a Taurus, it could be a Virgo, it could be a Capricorn, it could be any signs, but Earth is representative of Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and there's a deep sense of lack here connected to this feminine, I feel. And so maybe in the recent past or long past, there was some type of split. I do feel, I don't know if it's the Queen that walked away or the King that walked away, but the King of Wands upright is inspiring. I do feel this King of Wands energy is like a creative muse for somebody, is really what this is feeling like. And so maybe this Queen chose to walk away and make big changes and walk away. But I do feel there was somebody here that was just overly sensitive to any type of criticism. Or any type of, you know, having to look at something or having to communicate clearly. There's like a lack of clear communication here. There's a lack of open-heartedness connected to this Queen. And so this Queen could be very generous though. But I also feel a very materialistic energy coming through here. And so maybe you've got the ability to make anything more beautiful, but are you coming from an intention of materialism? Right? And so we can't fill these voids with things. Right? We can't fill these emotional voids with things. And so there is an opportunity for a beautiful new emotional experience here. But I feel somebody here is oversensitive to any type of criticism. And it's kind of time to let your guard down, let your walls down, because I do feel a lot of negative belief patterns that need to be worked through. This is all about accepting responsibility, right? We have to get to a point where we accept responsibility. And so I also feel there could be a feminine coming through that is lacking loyal, dedicated effort towards her mission, her path. That's not going to be for everybody, but ultimately there's unfounded fear. There's unfounded fear about maybe putting in the work and taking action towards a connection, So Virgo energy, I do feel Virgo energy. And so there's some type of very addictive, unhealthy pattern here. Maybe it's just the way you react emotionally, but it's kind of time to overcome this deep sense of lack or this lack of consciousness. And so below the 5 of coins, we do have the 6 of wands, and then we have the chariot. So there's that Cancer energy asking us to find our determination and our willpower to successfully balance out our lives with that balance card in reverse. So we're going to clarify this queen in reversed. We're going to clarify the Queen of Coins in reversed because she's our central energy. So we get the 10 of coins upright. We get the Ace of Wands in reversed, and we get the Moon in reverse. So this is a wake-up call. I do feel there could be a feminine here waking up to some truth that has been denied with the Queen of Swords in reverse, and this is long overdue truth. I think something about a 7-year cycle. Maybe there was a separation 7 years ago. I don't know. Somebody here has definitely been asserting their power, and I do think they have kind of hung on to some type of financial approach to life. And I do feel this is going to be like a wake-up call because there could be a huge missed opportunity here. It doesn't have to be. But the Queen of Swords in reverse is saying, hey, there's a need to focus on your path. What is it that you need to cut out of your life that is no longer serving you? Because the Queen energy in reverse is saying, hey, there's a need to learn a lesson connected to the material world and connected to some type of truth that has been denied. So maybe this is a very difficult truth, but there's a truth coming to light that's been denied, maybe about a missed opportunity, and somebody's just been holding on to material wealth, material comfort, and saying, hey, that's good enough. That's bringing me peace. That's bringing me contentment. But hey, there was a seed planted maybe 7 years ago. And so maybe it's time to look at what it is that you're investing in. You think of pentacles, you think of time. I feel there's been a lot of wasted time here. So what is the balance card in reverse? Because this is connected to some type of ending, I feel. So there is a cycle reaching completion. And I do think it's kind of time to see the bigger picture. Page of Pentacles in reversed. Queen of Cups in reversed. And the Knight of Swords. And so there is going to be maybe unexpected communication. The Queen of Cups in reversed, I feel, is somebody that hoards their emotions. There's somebody here that maybe is actually very loving, very compassionate, very psychic, but withholds their emotions. There's a very prominent energy, I feel, of healing the reptilian karmic feminine brain. That's what I feel coming through here. And so it's like somebody here longs to care for others but doesn't know how to receive love. There's a lack of receiving love. And so because somebody's heart was closed, maybe they pushed away an opportunity for some type of union because they were overly sensitive to some type of criticism from an Aries, Leo, or Sag. Doesn't have to be. But there is going to be some type of very brash communication coming forward. That's the person that's pulling the trigger, right? Divinely guided to pull the trigger. Spirit's like, pull the trigger, pull the trigger. And this is going to create a challenge here. So do you want to choose an emotional reaction, or do you want to pull back and actually evaluate why, the whys as to why I'm reacting this way? Because there's going to be sudden unexpected changes. And this is going to shatter some type of an illusion here is what it feels like. So what is the ego? Oh, we'll take it. What is the ego card all about? What is the devil card all about? There's that core wound. This is about getting to the core of the wound. And so the triggers are just there to get you to the core wound. And so you can protect yourself all you want. But if you don't do the deep soul work of drudging up the wound and opening up the heart, you will never, ever be willing to receive love. You'll never be able to receive love. And so maybe you don't want to give up. And I don't want to give up. I get it. But there's a core wound here that needs to be addressed. And I do feel resistance to this transformation. And so there is going to be a significant change. It's the Tower in reverse. The Tower in reverse is saying, hey, there is a deeply rooted reptilian brain belief here that needs to be looked at in order for you to go to the next level of your enlightenment journey. And so there's going to be a revelation, there's going to be a trigger pulled, and this is going to force somebody to break free from procrastination, to break free from materialism, to something that's been addictive or unhealthy in order to release an old belief system. And then we get the Six of Cups, maybe connected to some type of deeply rooted childhood pattern or belief surrounding romance. So get ready to revisit an old relationship, an old cycle. It doesn't have to be a face-to-face with that person. It might be a face-to-face with somebody here. But if you look at on this card, we got the same angel in the background. And so there is something about a past separation here when it comes to the return of somebody from the past. Maybe it's the memories returning or romance from the past. And this is going to have to be looked at. So don't over-romanticize the past, first and foremost. But we are at that divine why. We are at the crossroads. And so there is going to be a big decision to be made here. Could be a same-sex couple. We could have two men in a relationship and one of them needs to make a choice. Doesn't have to be. But this really is about expansion. It's about expansion. It's about understanding your motives, releasing your own questionable motives, and walking away. So what is it that needs to be moved on from with the 8? My phone just zapped out. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to try and split the videos, figure out how to put them together. But I was asking, what are we walking away from the 8 of Cups? So what is it that we're walking away from with the 8 of Cups? We're walking away from a missed opportunity. We're walking away from negative, repetitive patterns. And we are awakening to see things in a whole new light. And so take the energies of this full moon, pause, reflect, gain that psychic insight, and embrace karmic freedom. Embrace karmic freedom. Walk away from the past. Walk away from the missed opportunities and make those plans to step into the future. That is what these energies are asking us to do. Be patient, because ultimately we do get to decide what is next. And so we get Pisces energy, we get all of the fixed signs. And so sometimes we don't get to finish what was started. Sometimes it's just done and it's over, and we don't always know the whys, but oftentimes these are big lessons. These are muses for our creative journey. But ultimately, I do feel forgiveness is the key. And eventually we all get to where we need to be when it comes to relationships. So what is it that you need to let go of? Forgiveness, right? Forgiveness to end the challenges, and there is going to be an exchange, I do feel. And so move on, embrace the healing journey, have faith in the future, and be willing to just go towards peace. So we are in the last few weeks of clearing up some past life karma, some childhood karma, some wounding connected to that Capricornian energy. And so get ready to have faith in the future again, because I do feel we are reaching the light at the end of the tunnel, but it might require spending some time in peaceful meditation. And maybe it's time to become that mentor or seek out a mentor. But let's close off the reading with a Healing Waters Oracle message. And let's see what the closing message is. The Pearl. The pearl at the bottom of the ocean. And so alchemy. There is always reward at the end, right? From grit to grace. So it's like finishing off that process of a diamond, right? Becoming unbreakable. And so what is the closing message today? The Pearl. That's what came out, the Pearl. So I guess that's very loud. So there's a coming together, I feel, when it comes to unity consciousness. So let's read the Pearl. It's on page 112. And we will close off the reading with this message. And so pearls are one of the most precious treasures of this world. So basically the pearl energy is saying that there is a precious message coming forward, that we are all created equally. So maybe you've been creating something in the physical and it's not quite reached some type of completion. So whatever it is that you've been creating, trust that your hardships are turning into healing, and the grit that you've gone through is turning into grace. So whatever it is that you've been doing, the divine is acknowledging your work and the deep roots that are required to truly rise to the next level. And so I do feel the energies are asking you to be ready to receive all of the blessings that are meant for you in this lifetime. Be ready to alchemize all of your hardships into healing, because I do feel the energy is offering you a beautiful opportunity to end a cycle, to step into the new. And so these energies can take you anywhere if you put in the work, whether it takes 6 months or several years. You will get there. You will get there. So that is the closing message today. I hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to go further with me with a personal message, please feel free to check out the description box below. And I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.